We are recording and then, all right, so I'll start now. Okay. All right. Hey, friends, welcome to the very first episode of Coffee, Closings, and Chaos. I'm your host, Alyssa Guillermo, realtor, sourdough enthusiast, fire wife, and your go to resource for all things Treasure Coast to South Florida real estate and lifestyle. Around here, we will be talking about the real side of real estate, the wins, the chaos, and everything in between, all over a good cup of coffee. From contracts to closings to lifestyle, local living, and all the moments that make this career anything but boring. Because let's be honest, coffee and contracts go hand in hand. And today we are kicking things off with the one and only Meyling, the title goddess herself. If you've ever wondered what actually happens behind the scenes when you're buying or selling a home, or how title magically pulls everything together at closing, this episode is for you. Meyling is one of my favorite people in the industry. She's not only a good friend and a fellow fire wife, she's sharp, hilarious, and somehow makes the most stressful part of the deal feel completely effortless. So grab your latte, get comfortable, and let's dive into some coffee, closings, and a whole lot of chaos with the title goddess herself. Welcome, Meyling.
Yay!
So much for joining me today.
Oh my gosh, thank you for having me.
All right, so before we dive into the chaos that we're going to do together, I would like to do a little intro. So tell me a little bit about yourself and the title. How did the title goddess come to be?
Wow, the title goddess came to be by birth. Unfortunately, my mom owns a title company when I was born, practically. And then she ventured off to opening up a Century 21 franchise. So, needless to say, being entitled, being in the real estate space was something I grew up in. I don't know if I'm going to age myself when I say this, but does anybody remember like the Mervyn's commercials where people would just be like up on the wall, like the glass wall, and just be like open, open, open? Well, that was me in my younger years doing exactly that at my mom's Century 21 office. So it was just one of those things that it was pretty inevitable that I was going to get into the title space. I did dabble into the real estate space too, but I just had a love and a passion for being on the closing side of things. And I started processing files for my mom's title company at the age of 19, straight out of high school, in 1999. And essentially, that's where the title goddess was formed. It was little baby title goddess. Now it became big girl title goddess back in 1999 at the age of 19. And I've just been doing it. I've been doing it since. I honestly can't see myself doing anything but what I'm doing today. And I love it, even though I complain sometimes.
Yeah, you can tell you love it just by, I mean, we've done quite a few deals together at this point, and I mean, you've probably single-handedly helped me save. I could think of at least two off the top of my head that we've been together. We've trauma bonded through some of these.
Yes.
But no, that's great. Like I feel it too. Like I don't think I could do anything else after this. Like I loved what I did before in hospitality and running hotels and restaurants and all that, but this is like I've been wanting to do this since I was a kid. So
There you and you're doing an amazing job at it. I have to say, I'm just gonna put a plug in there. Y'all gotta
thank
call.
you.
Like, I'm sorry, hands
I'm
down.
starting my third. It'll be my third full year starting in January.
That's
So
wild.
yeah,
3 years.
I don't know where the hell time went, but yes. But no, before we dive into all the chaos, I wanted to get a perspective from you. What's the one thing you wish every buyer and seller understood before going under contract?
Gosh, the one thing that every buyer and seller understands, y'all need an agent. Period. End of story. Like, just do everyone a favor and don't go at this alone. Um, and I love that question because right now it's one of those things, with all the NAR changes and the buyer broker agreements and, really giving the buyers the option and position. And I think it's really setting them up for failure. That's just my personal opinion, right? Where they can go at this without an agent. There's just there's so many legalities and there's so much fine print on the contract that even agents sometimes have a challenge understanding what certain terminology on a contract means. And this is something that they do for a living, right? Imagine a buyer, and I've seen it firsthand where buyers and sellers get into contract, they don't have any agent representation. They're doing this for sale by owner, and they're finding themselves in a pickle in the transaction and then expecting the title company to negotiate for them. That we're not licensed to negotiate your real estate contract, right? So I think that's the number one tip that I would say that I wish buyers and sellers truly knew about this real estate is hire a real estate professional. I promise you it's going to be well worth it. They're there to guide you through every step of the way. And just another thing too is this takes time. This is a process, right? You're going under contract, you're buying a house, there's a lot of money involved, right?
Yeah.
So being completely open, being completely transparent, that's important because, you know, we need to know things.
Yeah.
If
I
we
think
don't know things.
the one thing I've been through about being transparent, I had a buyer once not disclose to me that he was legally married, but wasn't with the spouse, and could not find this person.
Yeah.
So it held up. Title called me going, "Hey, do you know this?" And I'm like, "No." We've had multiple conversations. He's told me he's single. So I'm like, you know, and we ended up having to go another route. But I think transparency, and I understand, right? Like, if people are just meeting me or just starting to meet you and work with you, like, they don't know or trust us to a point where, like, they want to give you everything except a blood sample pretty much when you're buying a house. And it's, I always say, like, listen, I'm not going to do anything with this information except hand it to title. Title's not going to do anything with this information except store it. And it's not going anywhere for anyone else to see or know. But yeah, it's, I think
Yeah.
especially for me, I think we've done a file together where it was a couple that was divorced, and one didn't want the other one to get the other one's email and know where they're going to. And it was like a whole mess of, we're trying to keep peace and move forward.
Yeah. I have this one saying that I give to like all my agents anytime I do like a training, especially when it comes to like, the common closing pitfalls. When it comes to Florida laws, like if you're married, you're married. Like there's no such thing as, hey, we're separated, right? So when you're married, in Florida, what's mine is mine and what's yours is mine. And, separation is not a legal status. Like you're either married or divorced, period. End of story. Like, don't give me you're separated because that makes no difference to me.
I know. I love that.
It makes no difference. But yeah, divorce cases are actually pretty tough. Those are probably one of the most difficult ones to deal with because there's just you're kind of transacting in the middle of a divorce, um and sometimes property settlement agreements aren't done, so it's kind of like, all right, let's take out the popcorn and see how this one pans out at the end of the day. um,
Yeah.
those are interesting.
Yes. And then, so you and I have seen some wildfires, if you will, as fellow firewives. We know about staying calm in chaos and, figuring things out. What are the biggest red flags in a title file that would make you think, yep, this one's going to be a spicy one?
Incorrect deeds. Yeah, those are always my red flags. So just to kind of give it into perspective, right? Whenever we get a contract from an agent, the first thing we're doing is we're ordering a title search. So basically, this title search is going to give me every skeleton in the closet that the seller may or may have that's recorded against public records, right? And one of my biggest red flags are when I get this report back, it'll basically ask me, hey, you need a corrective deed, or there's an issue on the transfer of deed from the original seller to who now is the seller. Those are red flags because obviously there's issues with the chain of title somewhere. Now we have to like do a deep dive. And the worst part of it all is when we have to now then go find the previous seller, and we are literally like praying and hoping and we're turning on every candle in the office just to make sure that this previous seller has not passed away and they're still alive and kicking and are able to re-execute this deed. It's a lot. It's wild. I mean, that's one of the red flags. Um, Another red flag is when we see so many quitclaim deeds done prior. So we always get this report and it'll basically tell us how many times this property was transferred from one person to another. So if I see more than 3 quitclaim deeds, and I think 3 is too much, if I see more than 3 that have been recorded, I'm already automatically like, why are they transferring this? Like, what are they trying to get out of? Like, what are they trying to hide? Something's not right here. So those are always red flags and always interesting.
And then is the big topic I would say, especially in the industry, has been AI lately. So have you from title seen like what's going on? Do you have anything going on with AI with you guys at title, or is there something new that has popped up? Because I feel like I feel 50-50 on AI, right? I love AI to a point. Like I think it could be used if used properly. I think some people use it too much of an extent to where they're putting all their hopes, prayers, and dreams into it, and everything that it spits out, they believe wholeheartedly. So have you guys run into things or?
So for AI, we have run into circumstances where we're doing what's called a remote online notary. In our world, we call it a RON. Um, and in that session, you're kind of finding yourself with someone on the screen. Think of it as you're being on a Zoom, right? And you're talking about legal documents. And while this person may look legit real, they're not. Like, it's crazy how real they can look. So it's gone to the point where we now have to like ask certain extra questions um to make sure that this person is real, and we have to like kind of inspect them. Like, is their mouth really moving? Is their head
Yeah,
really moving? Like, it's
that's
actually very scary to the point that we offer run, but we're starting to kind of keep it more on a needs basis, not an option, if that makes sense. Before we were kind of like, hey, we want to make this process easy for you. You know, you don't have to come to our office. We don't have to send anybody to you. You could totally do this online. We kind of got away from that because it's just too scary. It's way too scary. So we really
yeah,
just do it, if they're not in the state of Florida, or primarily if they're out of the country, like traveling. For whatever reason, everybody decided to go to Europe this summer. Not me. Not this.
really. Yeah, no, not me
Yes.
either. I actually can't even leave the country. My passport's like super expired.
Alyssa.
No, I need to work on that. I said my husband, I told Wesley, I said, my passport's expired. I haven't changed my name since I got married on my passport. So that's gone. My address is wrong. Like it's like uber expired. Like I'm probably gonna have to start the entire process over
Probably.
again.
I'm definitely not. I mean, as much as I love my husband and I really, really, truly do, I decided to hyphenate. But oh my God, could you imagine signing that long name, Montelongo Navarte? It's my last name is longer.
Well, that's like me. I thought about hyphenating my last name, but it would have been Cinecarello Guillermo. Like
It's so
that's
long.
like Cinecarello's 13 letters, and then Guillermo is I don't even know how many it is off the top of my head, but like that's really long.
It's long, so I'm just keeping everything Montelongo and whatever. It's
Yeah,
just
I
not hard
just
for you.
dropped Cinecarello, and I kept
You
just
kept
my
Guillermo.
new name because
Oh,
I thought about it and I was like, man, that's a lot to sign. And I just but what's funny was I changed my name a week before we closed on our house. So I was signing the closing documents as my maiden name because I wasn't used to it. So I was like, oh,
right.
poor title company we closed with had to print out like a couple documents like 2 times because I
So you
kept
can
signing
read
it
it,
wrong.
right? I can totally see that happening.
It's like
I
I
think,
am
yeah.
like my license was still hot from the printer type of like I just
My
changed it.
God.
And
Yeah, that
yeah,
happens.
it's nuts. But no, I think AI is great. We
Scary.
had pretty much our whole broker conference was centered around AI, and I think again, if you use it properly but still use your brain, it's going to work in your favor. But I
It
think
is.
so many people are getting so dependent on it that it's taking like I don't know, just taking like common sense away.
Yeah. Well, it takes away the personality of it too.
Yeah.
Like I've seen like a lot of emails coming back and forth. And it's gone to the point that I can look at an email and I can automatically identify, okay, this was totally written
Yeah.
AI because they're not using it like in their tone. Like I agree with you 100%. Like if you're going to use AI, use it as a guide, use it as a, how do I start this conversation or what are my bullet points, but not the full conversation because what's going to end up happening is that when you're live in front of a person, AI is not there.
Right.
AI is literally not there for you. It's not like you're going to stop and say, hold on, Alyssa, let me check AI and see how I can reply to you. Hold on.
Yeah.
Like you got
I
to
know.
know your stuff, you know, it's, I don't
I've
know. It's
seen
my
those
thought.
videos, like, or I think it was a commercial or on social media where some guy was in an interview and I guess he had like his AI on and the guy was asking questions and the video shows like it's spitting out an answer and he was reading the answer. And I'm like, I just,
Well,
to be
hold
a
on.
kid right now in school with AI must be so
Yeah.
easy.
You know, it's so funny that you say that because I was literally thinking the other day, I'm like, man, we're like so blessed to be born in the 80s. Like, I want to go back in time and have my kid in the 80s. And mind you, all of this stemmed up from watching Stranger Things because I'm like, I would have never been okay with my son disappearing like that for hours.
So
No
I've,
text message, no Life 360. Like, where
yeah,
is he? He's fighting demons.
I've never seen Stranger Things. My brother and sister-in-law love that show.
You
But so
should.
I'm a 90s baby and I remember like Wesley and I were just talking about this the other day because he's an 80s baby and we were saying how life was so much simpler. Like my biggest pet peeve, like as much as I love the phone, social media, it's like I love technology. I hate when you're sitting at a dinner and everyone's like
It's like
this.
this.
Like
Yeah.
I have a rule that like at dinner, especially with family, like phones are away. Like there is nothing detrimental that's
Yeah.
gonna happen at dinner, you
I
know?
agree.
Like
It's sad. It's really sad that
like
again, I mean, I would be a
as
mom.
connected as we are with technology, I think we've become so like we read something the other day that the kids nowadays, what are they, Gen Z? What are they now? Gen
Gen
X,
X,
Gen
Gen X, I think.
whatever, like the teen
Y
that
or whatever.
they have to like almost get therapy of how to talk to a human being.
Really?
Don't know. I mean, I'm sure, you know, Miguel can tell you, like Wes, like on there's times at work that they run into where like kids don't know how to respond to them and it's like, I should talk. Like
Just
it's
talk.
just talk. It's really not that difficult.
That's crazy. I mean, I mean, I get it and I don't sometimes. I'm trying to find like the real words of how I really truly feel. Like I think social media and AI are great for business purposes,
Yes,
right? Because you really do extend your business out further than
definitely.
in your like local, right? But it just gets to a point where if you're like going down that rabbit hole and just like scrolling and scrolling, and by the time you know it, you've spent so many hours just scrolling, I just feel like it consumes people. So it's
Yeah.
kind of like it's a good thing, but a bad thing. And I really do feel bad for like this generation of kids because that's all they know. Like
Well, they're
all they
never gonna
know
know
is
like
iPhone.
going to a library and like checking out like the
Yeah.
encyclopedia and having to
Smelling
do a
the books from the
yes,
library.
and
That
like
smell.
having to do a research paper with actual books highlighting things like everything's done on like the iPad. I think when I graduated high school in 2009, so that was right around the time everything kind of was
Yeah.
like getting techie. And then when I was in high or college, that's when they started going like full iPad in high school because my
Yeah.
brother was a couple years behind me. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm so glad I went to school and I would say raised when I was because it was playing outside, having fun. Like, listen, I'm grateful work wise because I couldn't imagine like doing my job now without the technology that we
Oh
have.
yeah.
Like someone had mentioned, was it you that we were talking the other day about the listing book? Like there was a book of
My
listing.
mom, yeah, my
Yeah.
mom used to have that. All the MLSs. So back then, it's so wild and crazy. Back then, the broker was the only one that had access to the MLS. The agents didn't have access. So what my mom would do is whenever there was a new listing posted, she would print it out and she would have me put it in a 3-ring binder and it had to have been numerical based off address. And I remember having to highlight the address, the folio number, the purchase price, and then the agent's name on the bottom, so that if someone called her office and said, "Hey, I'm interested in, 8551," well, then I would have to go into the 3-ring binder, look for 8551, and be like, "Okay, this is the agent I need to call to schedule
God.
a showing." That's how it was. It was so old school, girl. So
Yeah.
old. Could you imagine not having access to the MLS right now? Oh my
No, I
god.
mean, the only time I don't is when I have crappy service and I can't get onto my app, or I don't remember my damn password. That's been I don't like the new. I don't know if you've seen the new like Flex MLS app.
No, I
I don't
haven't.
like it. I don't like the
No.
new. No, because it's not like a clean app where it just opens and you log in. It takes you like another page and then it like loops back around. It just
Oh,
to me it's
yeah.
unnecessary steps, but it is what it
There's a
is.
lot of there's a lot of non-necessary AI steps. I mean, I get it. It's all, authentication,
Yeah.
security code this, text that, whatever, whatever. Like I get that. But
Yeah.
I don't know. I kind of like my highlighter
Yes.
and my pen.
I have my these are still apparently around, so but I also have my iPad, so like I like that as well, so I use both.
Yeah.
I love a good pen and paper, but I like the flexibility, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Then you can kind of take it with you and it's not 10 stacks of stuff. It's
Yeah.
my iPad, and it
Yeah.
fits in almost all of my bags, so
I
depending on
mean, I
what bag.
can't I can't tell you, having an iPad like in the real estate space, it is so much easier because you actually save money on having to do like listing presentation prints, or for me, like title flyers or things like that. Like I carry my iPad everywhere. And it's like, all right,
Just highlight on, speaking of title flyers and everything, if anyone who's listening to this has not worked with NuWorld Title, their app is part of my friend. It's fucking amazing. And it is, from an agent standpoint, the tools that are on that app are just phenomenal. Both on the listing and the selling or the buying side, it helps tremendously with transparency, which, as we know in this industry, is not always a thing. And just like the calculators, and then for me, it's the aesthetic, right? It looks professional. It's not just like numbers on a page. Easy to read. Clients really respond well to it. And whoever works on it, they did a phenomenal job because it's
yeah.
truly a game
Oh,
changer.
thank you. We work hard. We work hard to be that extension of your
Yes.
business.
And
We
then
get it. We get
going
it.
into more business talk, because this has been a question I've been asked numerous times in the last month, is what are you seeing for 2026? What is the buzz that you guys
Ooh.
are hearing of what's going to happen in the, because none of us have a crystal ball. Let's just get
Yeah.
that straight. So when people ask me, that's always the first thing out of my mouth. I'm not a fortune teller. I can't tell you what's going to happen, but this is what I've heard. So I want to know what's the buzz.
So what I kind of feel that's happening is, and I kind of have to go back a couple markets so that everybody can kind of understand. In years past, like real estate is very cyclical. I can never say that word right. You have 10 years that are great, 5 years that are awful, 10 years that are great. And it just goes kind of up and down, up and down, up and down, right? So this time around, it was very different because in the last drop, you dealt with a lot of short sales, you dealt with a lot of foreclosures. So there was a market, there was something that the agents can kind of fall back into to stay in the business, right? This
Yeah.
time around, it was very hard because we've dealt with so much. We've dealt with, NAR, we've dealt with the rates, and things of that sort. So I'm thinking and I'm foreseeing like 2026, it's going to be more of a normal year, but I see a lot of relocation. I see a lot of people leaving Florida, relocating to other places in Florida. But I also see like a very big influx of people coming in, right? From
Yeah.
like other states. I mean, there's so much talk about, the whole property taxes not being done. I mean, there's just a lot of great things that Florida has to offer. And I think other people in other states are seeing that. And they're up for retirement too. They're like, why am I going to stay in the cold when I can be like down in Palm Beach? or Port St. Lucie or Seward or St. Coral or wherever, right? That I do see happening. I do see it being more normalized in 2026. But I also do see a lot of relocation. I mean, I'm
And what?
seeing it now. It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, most of the buyers I work with are all from up north and like out of
Yeah.
Florida.
Yeah.
I've dealt with a few relocation within Florida. Mostly, it's like I call them transplants, like myself, from Broward up to like the Treasure Coast because it's just not as like that whole South Florida area. Listen, I was born and raised. I loved it. I still love it. My family still lives down there, but you see, like it. I mean, it's booming. Like with the amount of people, like you feel that on 95 on the Palmetto, like or the Crawl Meadow as we used to call it.
Yeah.
But,
You see it everywhere. I mean, it's so like I think for me, it really opened my eyes when both my father and my brother, like super straight Hialeah guys, like Hialeah is it. I mean, they've been in Hialeah when Hialeah was just like farm and cows. I mean, they talk
oh
about
wow,
it all the time. They're like, I remember this was a cow pasture and I remember this was like a horse field. And these are like straight people, like born and raised. I can never ever have ever imagined them not being in Hialeah, to the fact that they both sold and moved to Georgia. And
crazy.
that for me was like, okay, I understand. Like I get it now. Like you get so consumed in seeing what you see day to day, right? Like what we see day to day because we see it. But when it like starts to hit close and your family is just kind of saying, hey, I gotta go. If not, I'm not gonna survive here. And like there's just not enough retirement and I just don't vibe with the people anymore.
Yeah.
It's like we're out. So that was a real shocker. That was a real, real big shocker. When I missed him dearly because I'm a daddy's girl, and even though I can change my light bulb, I kind of like my dad doing it.
So I can't change a light bulb. My ceilings are too high. Even me on a ladder. And I don't do
Yeah,
ladder.
you're an exception to the rule. I can't even change light bulbs in your house.
I had when we first moved in, I have the best neighbors in like our block. We have the best neighbors, but I had to call one of my neighbors over because my fire smoke detector in my bedroom was chirping, and I was saying like I hate noises like that. Like I'm pretty sure I have like they call it misophonia. Like I hate certain like people
Work. Certain
chewing little
noises.
noises. Yeah, it drives me nuts. So I was like, oh my God. So I'm looking up at my ceiling in my bedroom and I'm like, there is no way. One, I don't do height. So I'm like, I'm not getting on a ladder. Two, I physically cannot get on a ladder and reach that. So I had to call my neighbor and I'm like, I will give you wine if you come over and please help me change my smoke detector battery.
Anything for wine. Anything for
Please.
wine. It's a
Yes.
great order.
It's just crazy. And then, all right. So from your experience, I have to ask, what's something a great realtor, obviously, not just me, just kidding. What do they do that makes your job smoother? And what's something we can unintentionally do that make life a little more chaotic? Like,
Oh, that's a
yeah,
great question. Um, what makes a great realtor on the closing standpoint is communication and being coachable, right? And I know when I say that, a lot of people are going to be like, coachable, right? What does that mean? And I want to start first off with communication and being coachable. And I know a lot of agents that are listening to this, they're going to be like, "Mate, what do you mean coachable? Hear me out. Hear me out. Hear me out. Hear me out." Right? I've been doing this since like I was practically born here. One thing I can say is I remember vividly being a processor at my mom's office and being completely fascinated with the work of my closers. Like for me, it was like, is this what you do? Like you're just going off of paper and plugging in numbers. And, I was fascinated by it. I'm like, so this is all that we do. We will get a title, we clear the title, we prepare the settlement statement, we get to closing, call it a done, and we're making money, right? It's not that simple anymore, right? So an average agent will close anywhere, and this is average, right? Will close anywhere between 8 to 10 deals a year. That's not nearly enough experience to really truly say I have gone through every shitstorm, pardon my French, or
yeah,
every closing obstacle that there is to know exactly how and why and getting things done, right? So when I mean coachable is, trust your title partner. Like if we're basically saying, hey, Alyssa, I need this and this and this and this to clear that, instead of like arguing with me or instead of pushing back at me or, saying, oh, but why is it going to take so long? Like take a moment and say, well, why is that?
Right.
Like why do you have to go through those steps? There's certain title issues that they're going to take longer to clear. But we always try, at least I do, like I always try to educate the agents and just kind of say, I'm not giving you a no. I'm just giving you I need more time.
Yeah.
Right. So being coachable in the sense that not every title, not every closing is as easy as it used to be prior. Like there's always something, there's always some kind of, shit show. There's always some kind of shenanigans going on, and the communication, like one of my biggest pet peeves, and I know this is gonna like touch some buttons, and I know that it's just the expectation, but one of my biggest pet peeves is when agents just send us the contract and then disappear. They just disappear. And then expect that the title company has to handle all of the communication. That, in my opinion, is probably the best way to lose a client. Period. End of story. I've seen it firsthand. I don't want your sellers or your buyers trusting me and calling me on things that you, an agent, can do. As it is, we're calling these buyers and we're calling these sellers and we're basically saying, hey, Alyssa, this is Meyling from NuWorld Title. I'm going to be handling your closing. But hey, by the way, I need your email address because I got to send you a form. You got to send it back to me and I need all of your personal information. Like, how would you feel if you were a buyer or a seller and your agent didn't even tell you, hey, you're going to get a call from the title company? These buyers and sellers are putting all the trust in the agent, and then the agent's just sending the deal and then walking away. Right.
Yeah.
It really truly does make the transaction harder because now we got to build the trust you've built with the client with them so they can turn in the information we need in a timely manner. And there's times that they just don't.
Yeah.
They're
I
like,
think,
I don't know who you are. My agent doesn't answer. My agent didn't tell me anything about the closing process. I'm not giving you any information. And it's kind of like, well, then I guess we're not closing.
yeah. Like, I think in real estate, just in general, my biggest pet peeve, and this is my saying, and I say this all the time, it is 2025, right? Almost 2026.
Yeah.
You can send an email, send a text from your bed, from the damn bathroom, from the line at Chick-fil-A. Like there's no excuse to not communicate in this day and age.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be instant, right? Like, yeah, I pride myself on being I try to answer fairly quickly. But if not, it's within a couple of hours, right? Obviously, if I say it's urgent, it's going to be a quicker reply. But even I see it with agents I've worked with where I'm like, hello, like, do you want to close this? Like, you need to answer your phone or you need to be honest with me about what's going on. And I think it's such a crazy thing and everyone's got these little devices, like just glued to their little fingers. And
the local card that hasn't been cut yet.
Yes. And, I get it. Like, I know some agents are like, oh, I keep my phone on, do not disturb. I'm like, yeah, so do I. But I have certain things. There's a beautiful thing called settings, and you can have certain things pop through because to me, this business, and probably I'm going to get like kicked back for this, but like, I think this is so much easier than what I did before in my previous life. And I think the basic thing is communication all around. Between agents, title, lenders, inspection companies, like everything, just communicate. And this job would be 1,000 times easier, if everyone was just on their stuff. Because
like on their stuff. And not only that, know their stuff too, right? And that's one of my biggest things.
And if you don't know it, say you don't know. Because for me, like I got this a lot, I mean, again, I'm only 3-ish years in, but I think I've done okay in the last 3 years to where I can speak on some things, but there's a lot that I don't know. And my favorite thing is when I work with an agent and it's like, oh my God, like if I had $1 for every time I heard, oh my God, I've been doing this business longer than you've been alive. I know everything. And it's like, I laugh at that because no, you don't know everything, because I'm sure between now and the day you retire, there's going to come a situation where you're like, oh, this is new, you
Everything
know?
changes. The real estate closing deals have changed so much. Like one of like I have like two biggest things. Like this is what throws me off. And I'm always, and I mean, like I'm in the business of closing deals, right? That's my job. My job is you're sending me a deal. My job is to get it closed. However, the best way and the safest way and the clearest way for the buyer, that's my job, right? So work with me. I want to work with you, not against you, right? So it drives me insane when I have agents that tell me, oh, well, I'm a top producer. I literally, guys, listen, for every agent that's on here, like, look, enough with the I'm the top producer line. Like, let's just cut it, because you do know that there is a database that will show us your actual numbers, right? So I literally will go on there and be like, okay, so why are you a top producer? Because you closed three over $1 million deals, you're a top producer. That's 3 deals, baby girl. Like, I'm sorry, you're not a top producer. Like, a top producer is someone that really does this like day in and day out, and you've done multiple transactions. This is all you do, you breathe. And then it's like you kind of go on the rabbit hole of like, all right, well, let's Google them. And then they're kind of like, real estate agent OnlyFans. I'm like, you're not a top producer. I can't.
Real
Like,
estate OnlyFans. I like
I
that. I think you
can't, like,
should.
I can't. I'm just like, all right, like once I do that research and once I get there, like once I go down that rabbit hole, like I just kind of like, all right, you know what? Let me just take this bull by the horns and let me figure it out.
I
Or
know I had.
the second one is like, oh, because my title company would do that. It's like, great, but is it the right way? Like, is it the right way? Right? I'm here to do it the right way. So yeah,
Yes, the
it's
right way,
been,
the legal way. You and I we had a transaction where I had called you about something the other
oh
side
yeah,
wanted to do, and you were like, no, don't.
yeah,
Because it's, again, I kind of laugh, because I feel like in this industry there's a lot of unnecessary competition, and I think
no, oh, so
like
much.
and I've had people who are like, I would say we're friends, I guess, if be like, oh, well, act as though we're competing. And I'm like, I've never felt in competition with an agent unless we were going after the same listing. And you know
Yeah,
what? At that case, whoever is meant to work with that person is going to get it. And one might not jive. There's people who I'm pretty sure could not stand working with me because they probably think I'm a pain in the butt. And then there's others who appreciate my neuroticness,
yeah.
So it's,
It's a
and
relationship business.
not everyone, jives. And I think it's so important to realize that. And then, to what we were talking about before, like when I first started, I had an agent get really nasty with me on the phone for no reason, which that's a whole nother topic, because don't get emotional over something that you don't need to get emotional
Yeah.
over. And he was very condescending to me and said something along the lines of, I've been doing this longer than you, so I know what I'm doing, type of thing. And I've had my license for X amount of years, and it was like 20, 30 years, whatever, which is great. Like, good for you. That's awesome. But my response to that, because he was so condescending, was, that's great, but I know people who've had a driver's license for 50 years and still don't know how to drive. So just because you've held a license for, 25, 30 years does not mean, because
That
not for nothing, I've only had my license for 3 years. And like, I think I'm pretty good at what I do. Do I know everything? Absolutely
no.
not. Well, I
I think
pretend
it's
to know everything? No.
I think it's a matter of, how you treat this as a business that really showcases, you know, your experience and your seriousness in wanting to do this business. I mean, my mom's been in this business since I was born. And she's a managing partner for a very reputable real estate company. And she says the same thing. She's like, the amount of years that you've had your license makes no sense. Like it doesn't show me anything. Like, because the real estate has changed so much. It's more of how you're having these conversations. And really it's gonna boil down to working together. Like, forget about how long you've had your license. It doesn't matter. Like, great,
Yeah.
you've had your license for 30 years. Well, how many deals did you do in 2025? Oh, this is your first one? Well, how much has changed in 2025? You know?
Yeah.
And then going back to the last question, and I'll kind of like leave it with this because it kind of segues into it. You know, I feel that what would make a realtor, their business, so much more, I don't want to say easier, but a little less stressful, is really understanding the contracts. Like buyers and sellers are hiring you for a reason, right? You're going out there and really right now it's you got to know this. Like you got to know how to negotiate the contract. You got to know what these terms of the contracts are. Like your biggest pitch right now is, hey, buyer and seller, you want to go at this on your own? Great, but let me tell you why you need to work with Alyssa. Why you need to work with me? It's because did you know that on the contract it says this, that, or the other? Did you know that your buyer can back out if this, that, or the other doesn't happen? Like really, truly understand the contract. It was crazy to me. And I want to say this happens in the spring, summer, right? I had a deal and the contract had just changed, had gotten updated December of 2024. Mind you, we're already in 2025. The agent had no idea of the new terms of the contract that were just done in December 31st of 2024. I'm like, guys, I'm entitled. I don't have a real estate license. Why do I know more about this freaking contract than some agents in this industry? Right? My job is to issue the title and close the deal, but I take that step to help the agents understand. But I think it's just really truly understanding the contract and knowing how to navigate through it, knowing how to negotiate through it. I mean, guys, that's just going to make your business so much easier. Like, let's stop with let me fill in the blanks and let me send it via email so you can electronically sign an initial and then send it back to me and I send it the title. Like, really go over this with your clients. I promise they're going to love you after that because they're always going to have a question. I promise. They
It was
always do.
fun. I never thought, like, because I've done I've written a ton more contracts, than have gone through, but I've written so many that I had a client that she didn't have an email. So I had to go over and get everything, hand signed, which was fine because it gave me more time to make a connection and all that. And she was a sweetheart. But it showed me, I was like, okay, I know my stuff because I had to go line by line and physically explain to her what everything was. And we don't do that anymore because now here's a dot loop. It's going to prompt you to sign it. And yes,
I
of
mean,
course,
you
you
don't
get
have to
questions.
know. You don't have to know the legal terms of it. You just have to know like the basics of
Details,
what
yeah.
it is. Like
Right.
it's a Florida real estate contract. It's already drafted by attorneys, but you should be able to like explain or go into a brief statement on, hey, this is what you're signing. This is
Yeah.
what this means. This is what that means. And things of that nature. And
Yeah.
I wish more agents did that. I really, really do. Like that would be
Yeah.
the number one thing I would want from all agents in 2026. Know your contract.
Yeah. And then just to kind of because we're getting towards the end here, could you speak a little bit about you and NuWorld title and what it's like working with you and what NuWorld offers to agents
Wow.
out there?
So it's a NuWorld pitch time. All right. So basically, NuWorld Title, as you guys know, we are a title company. We are in 5 states, so we're semi national. Basically, at the end of the day, every title company does the same thing. We all intake files, we process files, we clear title, we get them into post closing, we fund, right? The real difference is who you have in your back corner. So we divide our company by two. You have your account manager, such as myself, and you have your operations team. We all work together as a team, right? And I think the biggest important factor is, and Alyssa can attest to it, is always having someone you can call if and when your closer is unavailable. Like, let's face it, guys, you want your closer to be on your file funding it and making sure everything is clear so that you guys can exchange keys. It's nice to have a second person like an account manager there to then say, hey, I can't get a hold of Gina, but I need this. I have the client on the phone, they have this question, they have this answer. Like that's the biggest thing about NuWorld Title is we're in this business to close the deal and make sure the deal gets closed the right way, right?
Yeah.
And aside from that, I mean, we do offer a bunch of resources for agents. You are the frontline worker in our industry, and we want to be that extension of your business. So, whatever it is that we need to do to help you grow, to help you get closing referrals or referrals after you get closings done, and again, Alyssa can attest to that. I think that's really what makes the biggest difference is having a title partner and a loan partner that's an extension of your team and is there for you when you need them. And that's what it is. That's
And
it.
I think too, this is something small. Obviously, this isn't like the most important, but I think it's good because it brings the client, it's the experience, right? And we've done, I think, 10 or 11 closings this year. I
We've
think
done
nine
quite a
or
few.
we've done quite a few this year. And the one thing that I always get feedback from my buyers, especially, is when you close with NuWorld at the office, they give you the
Yeah.
key. And I think
Yeah.
everybody gets so, it's such like, because no one expects that, right? And it has a picture of their house on it. And I think it's just such a good touch that from an agent, because I love little things like that, I think it makes a big difference. That it's like, wow, you thought of me. Like, wow, you guys did this. And I think it's such a nice thing to do that, it kind of just puts, no pun intended, the icing on the cake type of thing, to where it's like you're already excited you're buying a home,
Awesome.
and now you can go celebrate.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to bring the champagne next time.
Yeah.
I'll
It
be
is a
like,
celebration. I mean, it
yeah,
really is. I mean, listen, buying and selling real estate is when you understand that this is an emotional process for your buyer and for your seller, and kind of take yourself out of the equation, like saying, hey, I'm a real estate agent and I'm here to help you buy, rent, sell, whatever the case is. When you truly understand that this is an emotional process for them, everything changes. Like how you run your business changes, who you work with changes. And for us, it was, we don't want them just to come to the closing and just sign documents and then that's it, goodbye. Like we
yeah,
wanted to celebrate this milestone because it is a process. Like they go through so much just to get to the closing table, where it's like, all right, what can we do to make them feel special? What can we do to make this like an actual achievement, a milestone that they've gone through and now they have? So we came up with the cake. I mean, I know it sounds cheesy and all, but
no,
it
it's
makes it,
so cute. I
it makes
love
it
it.
fun.
And then my final question for you is, what is your go-to? So it's like a little game I like to do. What is your go-to late night snack that's just like you've had a long day, you come home, it's, after dinner you're late, you're like, all right, you know what? This is what I need right now.
Ooh, cookies and cream ice cream. Like I have to have that. But it has to have like I will literally get like the little tub, like the little Haagen-Dazs tub, and I will scoop up the parts that have the most Oreo. So my little, when you see my tub, it looks like a little rat came in there. I'm like,
I
yup,
love
not
that.
enough cooking. Like if I'm gonna indulge in it, like I'm indulging.
Well,
Like
yeah,
this
you're
is
gonna do
how
it wrong, you're gonna do it right. Like you gotta just go all
exactly.
the
And
way. Go big.
maybe I'll have a glass of wine after that, because
I like
that
that.
doesn't sound right. But man, let me tell you, when you're having one of those days, it's just fuck it.
I love it. I know that's I like
Cookies and
I like a
cream.
good cookies and cream as well. Like hits the spot. But thank you, Meiling, so much. You were my first
You're
guest. I'm so excited.
welcome.
We talked about this like what 3 months ago, and I was like,
Yes,
I'm
we
just gonna
did.
do it. Like let's go.
Let's do
So
it. Well, thank you for having me. I'm so honored to be your first guest. I
and
wish you all the best, and I hope to continue being a guest and
yeah,
continue having more chit chats and maybe bring other people and we can make it really fun. I hope
definitely.
that all of the viewers and listeners got a whole lot of great shenanigans out of it. Um,
Yes. And then where can they find you? Like what's the best way?
just email me, Meyling at NuWorldTitle.com, or you can just even find me on my Instagram. I keep it very simple. Meyling underscore Montelongo. Like I don't have like those fancy names. I feel like if people want to find me, I mean, literally, you could just Google me and you'll find me.
I love
You'll
it. I love it. Well, thank you, May. And for everybody, please follow May on social and reach out to her if you have any title needs. I am Alyssa, and thank you so much for joining us for our very first episode of Coffee, Closings, and Chaos. Bye.
Bye, guys.